Hey guys, hope you are doing well. Making the DAX forecast for next week. I know some of you don't trade DAX or look at DAX at all, but I think it's the same concept, so you can also apply on EU, AU, and it's always good to see all the concepts, output everything together, and yeah, hopefully you can clarify some of your dots. So DAX daily, okay. I mean, I just focus on this piece of price action because if you want them to be 100% say correct, you would probably starting by saying this is a daily boss bullish, this is a daily boss bearish, and now we are within this leg, okay? But because it's such a big leg, and we usually trade on the M1, this for me is not very relevant. I just focus on this piece of price action because I think is much more beneficial for the session that we are going to trade tomorrow. So this is why I just focus on this. Okay, so we have this major sweep of liquidity, but we can look a little bit closely and you can see that we have this nice push up, right? And a push to the downside. So for me, we can see here, and I am assuming this is my daily bearish swing structure because I just focus on this price action, okay? You can clearly see the push up, right? And the push down. So I just mark here my daily break of structure in terms of if you keep following price, right? Here, price went down, and here you can see that we have that daily chalk bullish after the sweep of liquidity. But this bullish complex pullback was only confirmed after the internal boss bullish. Okay, this leg, just draw. If you are new, this is why I'm going slow in these concepts. You have this, right? Yeah, we have here the shock. This is the shock. Okay, but the officially confirmation was once this internal boss bullish, right? We have indication that this leg now is going to put this pullback of this leg is going to start. So let me just keep drawing the internal boss here. Here, like it's a body close that we want for internal structure, but I'll just put here to be clean. I can just use this range concept just to be easier to represent the daily leg. Just something like this. And this is the internal, okay? Okay, so what's happening? So you need to, and there was a question about on Discord that asked how do we analyze charts. That's still a little bit confused, so hopefully after watching this video it's a little bit more easier for you. But basically I just start by analyzing. I analyze the daily, right? I analyze the H4 and I analyze the M15 mainly. So on the daily I go to structure first, then supply and demand, and I can see like liquidity, but it's not very important. Structure and supply and demand, then I go to H4 and I do again structure, and then I do supply and demand again, and then 15 I go to structure and supply and demand, and this is how you map and how you build everything together to have clarity when the session opens. So okay, so in terms of the daily time frame, we have this daily internal boss bullish, which means, and it's a little bit tricky. I appreciate that you probably, if you are very new, can be a little bit confusing, but I hope I can explain for you to understand that after this daily internal boss bearish and this internal boss bullish, we have this internal protected low, and this is an internal protected high. So at this point, what do we have in terms of the swing structure? Let's say swing structure is a big leg, okay? In terms of this leg, we know that we have this protected high, right? And we have this targeted low. Very, very simple, okay? But now, if you look a little bit closer in terms of the internal structure, okay? price with a body right close here. For me it's all big leg. So in terms of internal, this is protected and this is targeted. So what you are going to do when you have two different situations where this is going to be targeted based on the swing, but also protected in terms of the internal. Sorry guys. So when you have a protected and targeted low at the same time, it means that if this mitigation right is going to hold, this internal structure needs to hold until the low goes. Why this happens is important to understand why, not just to memorize this, because if this internal structure, this daily bearish internal structure doesn't hold, what happens? We have alignment in this bullish leg, this internal, okay, that was found through this, okay. So because this is internal protected, yes, we can still trade through that, but it's important to understand that if this mitigation right at premium of the daily bearish swing leg is going to hold, this internal structure needs to hold as well. These supply ranges right need to hold as well, because if it didn't, and for example internal was bullish here, and in this case is internal of internal, if this internal was bullish right, it gives alignment between this leg, and we can assume that this low, this high failed to take out a low. So if it didn't complete its objective and is now weak, and now we will likely take out the high. So on the daily time frame, it's quite simple. It's just a little bit of maybe a circumstance that you are not used to, at least to subconsciously understand that. I hope that makes sense. Not sure if the correct word, but yeah. So in this situation, if this mitigation is going to hold, we know that this supply ranges needs to hold, but this is still protected. So this is why I mark this daily demand that price is rejecting at the moment, because I understand that this is a demand from an internal protected low. Okay, so this is why I draw this one. Yeah, on the daily time frame there is nothing more to do. Like, you can of course draw something like here, but it's not very relevant. On H4 will be much more easier to understand. So yeah, on the daily time frame, structure is what I just said. Supply and demand for me it just is extreme. Okay, so H4 just this. Okay, H4. We can see that price did not reject anything very clear, but because it reached here, it reached here premium prices, right, of the daily, that is enough for the pullback to be completed. And once premium prices are reached, of course, we have also this H4 most bearish in line with this daily. It's very likely that now it's going to continue down and take out a low. But yeah, that was just to talk about this not very clear supply mitigation. So, but back to the H4 here. If you draw the H4 structure, we can start by drawing here, for example. And I advise you to always draw from previous price action. Even though in this case it doesn't matter, I personally don't advise to imagine that this is the London session and you start just mapping here the 4-hour structure, because in this situation it doesn't matter, but a lot of the times you need to combine what is saying in a few days ago or even weeks ago to have the correct structure mapped. Okay, so this is H4. Okay, you can map here as well. Here I'm going very slow for you to understand, so if you are a little bit more advanced, I appreciate this can be a bit somehow a little repetitive, but yeah, we all been in the first stage where we don't understand how to map structures, so this is why I'm going slowly. Okay, so on H4 we have this boss bearish, so we have this boss bearish in line, okay, with his daily bearish swing leg. So at this stage we have H4 bearish and daily bearish, so sells are on the cards and are very high probability. Now if you continue at this H4 here and at this H4 here, okay, perfect. So at this stage I will be focused mainly on this piece of price action again, because I'm a day trader. I enter on M1 and on the second time frames, so there is no point for me to analyze things that are behind. I just use this price action to have the correct structure mapped that will influence this piece of price action. So in terms of H4, we also can understand that we have this demand here that's within the daily. I go back to the daily, we understand this is the daily internal protected low and this is the demand, so we refine with H4. POI is within that. We also have this one if you use the fractal refinements at the very extreme. Okay, so let's focus on this piece of price action. Okay, so we assume, okay, something about structure that we don't assume that it will change until it does. So H4 is bearish, okay, so I would assume it will continue bearish, okay, until it isn't. So going to next week, we can understand that price, if you put the premium versus discount, price mitigates the premium, chalk bearish, this low is likely to get run. Simple as that. Very simple, the same as last week. Price reach premium, chalk bearish, the low go. Okay, it's the same process. Premium, chalk, the low is likely to go. I will explain that on M15 price can actually go to the upside, but it's not very probable, but we still need to be prepared for that. Yeah, basically on the H4 there's nothing more to say. It's very likely for me that this low is likely to get run, but we do also understand that we have M15 and yeah, M15 can change. But based on H4, let me see if there's anything more to say. Price can definitely go to the downside, react still from the EQ of this H4 demand, or even go lower and react for this one that's nested within this daily POI. So yeah, there's nothing more to say on H4. Let's go to M15 and forecast the moves for next week. So something that I want to also touch is last week price action. Here you can see that where this sweep of liquidity, this M15 here broke bullish, and you have here the change of character, and this is what I was talking on the H4 and on the daily. Okay, so here in this situation, okay, you have the H4 boss bearish. I don't look to keep trading this. I basically wait for the change of character and then I look for potential longs. But only on where this most significant in this case is the boss bearish on M15, right? This is the M15 leg. But also only on we have this one that we can confirm that this pullback, right, is going to start. We can't confirm that with just a chalk. This chalk here end up not falling through. We know this is the end of the session, and yeah, there was no opportunities. But usually this change of character does not mean that the swing leg is going to pull back. A lot of the times this just means that this internal leg, right, that is holding, is now putting the pullback, okay, but only when this goes, this more significant internal structure goes, right? Only once this goes, that will now confirm that this pullback is going to start. Of course, you don't need to wait for this one to go. We can just take the chalk, but understand that nothing is confirmed yet unless, and it just confirmed that the pullback of this very small leg, okay? I know this is not relevant to this piece of price action, but it's an important concept that I want to pass the message. So, okay, so then we have this was bullish again. Let me just zoom in a little bit better here. And we can see here that internal structure, right? Here, that's why I'm forecast the potential longs, because first, price is not at EQ or premium prices, so we know that the objective is also premium or EQ levels, and you understand that this internal structure needs to hold bullish, so this demand range needs to hold if the pullback, right, is going to happen, because otherwise, if you don't hold, right, if this internal structure fails to hold and something like that, what you have, we have alignment between this swing leg and this internal, which means this low is going to get run, okay? So that's why I was confident in looking for longs. Unfortunately, it was during NFP, but I understand that this internal structure should hold to play the pullback back to the premium. Price reached premium levels and then went to the downside very aggressively. Unfortunately, it was not during sessions, so no trades, but play out perfectly the analysis, so that's important as well. Okay, M15 in terms of forecast for next week. Let me just delete this now that I already went through. Okay, so we understand that now that this is a swing leg, okay, and internally this M15 was bearish in line with this swing leg, so this low is likely to get run. So we do understand that internal structure should hold until the low goes. But what is the difference between taking a sell here than taking, for example, the long here, playing the pullback? Because we understand that internal structure should hold, and here internal structure should hold as well until the low goes. The difference for me, it's simply premium versus discount. It's all about pricing, and we understand that in this situation we are in discount playing premium, okay? And in this situation here we are in super discount, right, straight into the very extreme where we tend to have unfavorable price action. So I personally would not keep following ranges at this stage, because we already further in this leg we are already in extremes. So I personally am not very keen in taking this sell straight away. It would be, especially because it's very tiny range, this can easily evolve, right, and then become a much sustainable way to sell. But yeah, so this situation is different from this one. So what I'm forecasting for next week? For next week, let me just put here the premium versus the demand, just for you to understand that price is rejecting demand. I personally would not, it's up to you of course, but I will not be to sell this straight away here, even though I do understand that in theory these ranges should hold. So if price goes up and keeps moving down and take out the low, I do understand, but I'm not interested to take the sell. I'll be much more inclined to, let's just see, to wait for a deeper pullback. And when we have here alignment again with this bearish, this is the bearish swing leg, and then this is the internal. When I have the internal align with this swing, I have now indication that this low, right, is going to get run. So when price pops here, I then will be looking for sales 100%. Okay, this is my first forecast. Second forecast is, of course, we have a much more cleaner and developed range. At this stage, I'm more inclined, let's say, to look for sales if, of course, we have a very clean lower time frame price action. because the range is much more developed. It don't because this is very small, right? This can develop into too many things, and at this stage, if you have something like that, for example, with a sweep of liquidity and price pop to the upside, if I have at least M1 confirmation here that shows that this low is going to get run, at least I can take a quick trade here, targeting these lows. That is very likely to continue. So I will be waiting for a more developed range at this stage, even though I know it's not high probability because price is rejecting these extremes. And the next one is simply what happened here. Just remember on the daily time frame what I was saying, that this internal is protected, right? This internal low, internally of course, this low is protected. So there is also the small possibility that we have a nice push to the upside. We have internal boss bullish, which means that this low failed to take out. Sorry, this high failed to take out this low. So this can actually be a weak high. It's very small, that possibility, but still there. So I'll be looking for possible longs. If I go to M15, and if you notice what happened here, let me just, this will be literally the forecast for my possibilities for longs, something like that. For example, or here again, can be here, or can be here. Okay, let me just put here, it's the same. What I will be looking in terms for longs, I won't be looking for M1 straight away. I will be waiting for M15 to give me at least some sign that a pullback will happen. We know that the expectation, of course, when we boss, right, is to have an expectation, is to have a pullback. We never know when this pullback is going to happen. So it's what I said, never assume structure will change until it does. So I don't assume that we have a pullback until M15 give me the indication, okay? So after this H4 boss bearish here, after this H4 boss bearish, I will be waiting again for, in this case, you have the change of character here, but I'll be waiting for the change of character to give me at least a confirmation that price will make some kind of pullback. And this stage, right, this stage, the pullback of this is likely to happen, and I'm still in the discount trying to play back to the premium. So that's what I will be looking in terms of longs. I'll be waiting for the boss, okay, the change of character in a good area of value, or this, or deeper inside this one. And yeah, I'll wait for the change of character to play the pullback back up. And yeah, I like I said, I'll not be looking for here for the sell, even though I do understand that every range should hold at this stage, because we have alignment between this swing leg, right, and now that it's internal, right, in line with this one. So this low is like to get run. So that's why every range should hold, but I do understand as well that this is a very small range. Market open is also not ideal to trade straight away, so this can develop into many things. And if you have a more developed range with a clear sweep, for example inducement, and on them one, I have the confirmation, right, that this low failed to take out the high, so this low is weak, and then can take a sell and targeting these lows. And the ideal scenario for sales, of course, is waiting for a much deeper pullback, and then we have the structural alignment between this, right, and this internal, which means that this low is likely to get run, so it took a sell here and target these lows. And yeah, I think there is nothing more to add. If I keep talking, it's just to repeat myself. So hope you guys like this DAX forecast. I know majority of you don't trade that, but yeah, give me your feedback, what you think about this, because I'm always keen to improve and know if there's something that I didn't explain very well. So yeah, please give me your feedback, and see you on Discord, guys. Bye.